If you've been watching the channel for very long, you know that I think training is very important, especially if you're going to use or carry a firearm. So in today's video, we're going to talk about my recent trip to Tactical Response to take the fighting rifle class. I'm going to kind of give you my little experience at the class, tell you a little bit about the class itself, and some takeaways that maybe will help you if you're interested in taking the class, and maybe a couple of reasons I think it'd be a good idea for you to take the class if you own an AR-15 or any other tactical style rifle. So anyway, that's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me for another video about preparedness, because I think it's important to be prepared to be competent in the use of a firearm. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I got to give a big thank you to today's video sponsor, me, because we got some new t-shirts by popular demand, and these are available in many different colors, and they're of 100% cotton, made in the USA, and they have nothing about fat wood on back of them because some people didn't like that. And not only do I have t-shirts available, we've got hoodies, we've got hats, all kinds of stuff, because I partnered with a company, a good Georgia company called Ballistic Ink, to make that possible. So I don't have to stock these things and come up with apparently uncatchy slogans for the back of them. You can go to survivalonpurpose.com/swag and check those out if you're interested to help support the channel. And they also have a lot of other cool Second Amendment type shirts. They've got Canon soaps, they've got Canon Casio G-Shock watches. And if you buy any of that stuff, there's a little Patriot Partner drop down. You can select Survival on Purpose, and that'll help support the channel. So it's pretty cool, and I really appreciate your support. Now, let's talk about the fighting rifle class that I recently took at Tactical Response, which is, in my opinion, is one of the premier firearms training facilities in the world. So I've got some notes here to try to minimize the rambling, because this is like the third time I've tried to make this video and I just keep rambling off course. So try to stay focused here. So first of all, here's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to tell you what I want to tell you about. We're going to talk about class basics, the cost, and there's a couple of things you need to know if you're interested in taking the class. We're talking about what I used and the gear that I used for the class, and we're going to talk about the actual class itself, some examples, maybe a couple of video clips for some of the drills I did. Talk about at least one thing or two things that really got to make sure you got in before you go, and it's not John Wick type skills either, but a couple things that are going to make your experience a lot better. And then we'll tell you my takeaways from the class, and we'll wrap this up. So first of all, let's talk about the class itself, the basic class, and give you just the facts. You can check this out on the website at tacticalresponse.com, but I just thought I'd give you the hound dog version. First of all, fighting rifle is a 2-day class. $600 for the class right now at the time of this video, the 1st of June, 2022, plus a $10 a day range fee at Camden. That's for the upkeep of the range and potential range improvements. You also need about 1,500 rounds of rifle ammo. They say 1,500. I shot about 1,000. I think I went through 1,000, but they want, it's better to have too much and not need it than to run out. And the 1,500 rounds of 5.56 or 223 ammo is going to cost you about $675 at today's prices. I checked the prices on that. So there's that, and about 150 rounds of pistol ammo. It's going to cost you about $60 or so if you're shooting 9mm. So and by the way, that was about the right number of rounds. That I had a few extra with me, but I didn't have to get into those. So there's that. Other costs might be lodging. So let me just put this way. Right now, at the time of this video, the team room still has availability for some classes, and basically that is a bunkhouse that James Yeager has converted the basement of his personal house into a bunkhouse for students at no cost. So if there's a certain limit, just check to find out if there's availability when you go to schedule a class. If there is, you can stay there at no cost. There's literally some bunks in there. There's 2 rooms with a bunch of bunks in them. So maybe there's 12 to 15 places to sleep. 2 bathrooms, a shower, a little kitchenette, refrigerator, TVs and couches and all that. So it's a pretty cool place to stay, unless you hang out with other people that are there also and make some new friends. I made a couple of new friends there in the bunkhouse, which is cool. So the class itself is not physically overly demanding. There were people there that were in worse shape than me, and some that were in better shape than me, and everybody made it through the class just fine. They won't ask you to do anything or that you're not comfortable doing. There's no prerequisite for the class, but I highly recommend that you take fighting pistol first. Fighting pistol literally has some of the best training I've ever received, and I've been to several different places. They're going to give you a baseline about safety, about gun handling, and about mindset, which is so critical. And the fighting pistol mindset lecture alone is worth the cost of the class. I've had several different mindset lectures from several people. It's the best one I've ever heard. So there's that. And as far as your experience level, look, there were some guys in the class who had never fired an AR-15 before. They might have fired it just to get it sighted in or whatever before they came, but like they bought a rifle for this class and never had an AR-15 before, and they did just fine through the class. All walks of life. Everybody from literally from retired military to a lineman to a cardiologist were in class with me, and then me, a plumber, right? So anyway. Don't be intimidated if you don't have any experience, because that's what this class is all about. So there's that. Now there's a gear list on the class. We'll talk about that, because I know you read those gear lists. Sometimes you think, do I really need this? Do I really need that? First of all, this is an outdoor class, and it's rain or shine, okay? Rain, shine, sleet, or snow, they're going to train. So bear that in mind when you choose your gear list. But a couple things I definitely would emphasize about the gear list. They recommend bringing good ammo and good guns, and I'll tell you, I agree 100%. You're going to spend $600 on a class, plus $20 for the range for 2 days. Plus, even if you buy cheap ammo, you're going to spend several $100 on ammo, and you don't want to get up there and have problems with your ammo or with your guns. So make sure that you got good ammo, and make sure beforehand that you at least put several hundred rounds through your firearm if it's new, and make sure it's going to perform for you. Because two things about that. There were two people in class, and I'll show you a video of that in just a minute, that had problems with their firearms throughout the 2 days. And one guy had a lot of problems with his firearm, and I could just see his frustration was so high, it really, I think, impacted the quality of his training. Now, he got a lot of training on malfunctions, but in some cases his semi-auto turned into a single shot. So you don't want to save $100 on ammo and have a really horrible experience. So buy good ammo and good guns. They recommend knee pads. I recommend knee pads. I took elbow pads. I didn't need those, but knee pads for sure I needed, because I don't like to bang my knees up, and it also keeps your pants from getting torn up. So these are the ones that were on James Yeager's Amazon page like 5 years ago. These are about 4 or 5 years old, and they've been doing me just fine. The rifle that I took, let me just show you that. I used my Midwest Industries Tactical Response 25th anniversary rifle with a Holosun red dot 403C with a 3X magnifier. I didn't use the magnifier at all. Our longest range shots were around 50 yards, maybe a little bit longer, because this is a fighting rifle, martial use of a rifle. It's not a long, this is for like mid-range normal engagements, like using a rifle to fight with. I did do one drill with the iron sights just to see how well I did, looking through, co-witnessing through the red dot, and they worked fine. You need a good sling. This is the Vickers Tactical 221 sling from Blue Force Gear, but you need a good sling. That's real important. A sling for your rifle is like a holster for your pistol, so you're going to need a good sling, and I recommend some sort of optic, but you don't have to. You can do the class with iron sights, so that's important. Ear protection, if possible, get the kind that is electronic, so that you can push the button and you can hear people talking, but it still blocks out the frequencies of gunshots, which is really good because you want to hear the instructions, right? So there's that. Water. Again, depending on when you take the class, but even if you take it in the winter, you need to be hydrated. But in the summer, this is Middle Tennessee. It is extremely hot and humid in the summer, and it was the first day, honestly, was really, really hot and somewhat miserable. It's an outdoor class. You're out on an open range, so there's not, there's no trees overhead or anything, not a lot of shade, so you get really, really hot. Something I recommend, and Gatorade would work, but let me just give you a downside that happened to me. At the end of the first day, I drank a lot of water all day long. Now, they recommend a Camelback. I brought mine. I didn't wear it. I don't like to wear that stuff. I like to train like I live, right? So, and we'll talk about that again in a second too. But long story short, at the end of the day, even after drinking, I don't know, a gallon or two of water throughout the day, I was miserable. I thought I felt really bad. I felt kind of dizzy, and I felt like my heart was racing. Man, I'm getting heat exhaustion or whatever. One of the guys said, you need some electrolytes. He had a pack of these right here, Liquid IV. I put those in a bottle of water, which is why I like bottles of water, but for two reasons. First of all, you can see how much water you drank throughout the day. You don't have to try to feel how heavy your Camelback is. And it just lets you know, okay, I'm drinking this, I'm slamming this whole bottle of water. But you can also put this stuff in it and mix it up. Literally, I put one of these in, 10 minutes later, I felt fine. So electrolytes are important. These are like, not cheap. They're $10 at Walmart for like 6 packs, but they by golly work. So there's that. I highly recommend those. Another thing, you want to bring your lunch. You can drive to town and get something to eat, but by the time you drive to town and get something to eat, you're going to be eating in your car. You're going to come back and it's going to be time to train again. You have any time to chill out and just relax and wind down. And you miss the opportunity to talk with everybody and talk with the instructors and talk, just kind of share ideas and stuff. So I recommend that. So bring a lunch. And so along those lines, here's a couple of pro tips that I don't think are really listed on the website, but I recommend bringing a folding chair because there's really, when you're sitting down for lunch or whatever, it's good to be able to sit down in a chair and a cooler. That way you can use a cooler for like a table or whatever. And honestly, right now, until they get the range improvements done, the fighting rifle class is out on an open range and there's no canopy, there's no shed, anything. So, if you got one, I wish I had brought one. I would have been the hero. One of those folding pop-up canopies that takes 5 minutes to put up. Man, you'd be the hero if you bring one, I promise you. So, and next time I will. So there's that. So now let's talk about the my class itself. I'm trying to keep this focused as much as possible. So first of all, as I said, I took the rifle and also one other thing real quick on equipment. I forgot to tell you this. You need to take, it tells you how many mags to take, 3 or 4 pistol mags, a couple of pistol mags anyway, and 3 or 4 rifle mags at the least. Mark your magazines. So all my magazines, I've got my name and a number on them so I can identify which one's which in case there's a problem with it. But for sure, put your names on there. My rifle mags, I actually wrapped orange duct tape around the bottom of them, one wrap, just where it wouldn't interfere with the engagement in the rifle, but I can visibly see which ones are mine right away. Because there was a couple times throughout the day, other folks were like, well, they're missing $30 mags and they're trying to figure, is this my mag, is this your mag, or whatever? And nobody's stealing stuff, but things get confused, right? So if you mark your mags and you leave one behind or whatever, they know where to send it. But that just makes things a lot simpler. It makes everything go smoother. So mark your mags. So my class. My instructors were Brian Greenwell and Jay Gibson. Brian was a former Army infantry guy, and Jay is a United States Marine, retired. So 2 guys that know rifles for sure. They've been trained on rifles, and they've been training in tactical response for a while now. Jay's been there for, I don't know, 15, 17, 18 years, whatever. So they were my trainers, and I didn't, one more thing, I'm gonna insert this. I know a lot of people some people were wearing chest rigs and tactical gear and stuff like that. I didn't. Like I said, I train like I live, and I figure if I need to grab my AR out of the lockbox and go in and try to stop an active shooter from killing kids or whatever, I'm probably not going to have time to wear that chest rig, which weighs freaking 40 pounds, and it was hot anyway. I'm going to train like I live. So I carried this mag pouch with pistol mags in it. I used this Glock 19 with my hog holsters, which this ulti-clip on it, which has been through numerous training classes. I don't want to clip that onto my pants. I need something that goes around my belt. Look, this thing's been through numerous classes. I've never once had an issue with retention of the holster to my pants or with the firearm in the holster. The hog holsters rock. So that's my opinion, and based upon my experience. And anyway, I just stuck the mags in my pockets. I put the the AR mags in my pockets and one in the AR. So that's how I train. Anyway, so Brian and Jay Gibson, I give them both an A++. They are excellent instructors. What I like about tactical response is no matter what instructor you get the same quality of instruction because they have the same class syllabus, right? They have the same everything they cover. They're not winging it. They've got a written note. So okay, we need to make sure we cover this. We got to cover this. Got to cover this. Got to cover this. So they're not just winging it. They have a agenda that is they go by, and they each bring their own personality to it, and their own kind of take on things. But they all cover the same material the same way. So the consistency is the key to really, really good training. So there's that. So the first day, it was hot, and did I say it was hot and humid? So, but it was a wet heat. So first of all, sunscreen. I got a little sunburn here. Sometimes you might still see some flaky skin here. Sunscreen is important, and hydration is important. We started with just a brief safety lecture and some basics, and we did mostly close-in work on the first day. Mostly focused on gun manipulation. We did reloads and malfunctions, etc. We did transitions to your handgun, switching sides from right to left-hand shoulder, switching positions, moving, using cover, stuff like that. I put a little video here. One of the drills I did, just about using cover. Here's a little excerpt from it. It's baby steps for me. Okay, I'm learning, but it was a good drill. And then, like I said, at the end of the day, we all went to eat dinner together at El Vallarta, a really nice Mexican restaurant in Camden. And Jay and Brian went with us. That was cool. And then day 2, thankfully, it was about 20 degrees cooler. Literally, it was like in the mid 60s, and misting rain. So it never rained hard, but it misted most of the day, and it was absolutely great. Okay, it was great after the day before. So, and day 2 was mostly working on 2-man drills. So working with a partner and working together to create an effective fire team, which is good. It was really helpful, and really some things that maybe you haven't even thought about before. And here's one of the drills there that I was doing with one of the guys. And as you can see, basically we're both getting behind cover, and we're covering each other. And we didn't do perfect, but we did okay. Now let me give you just my quick takeaways and a couple of tips, and we'll wrap this sucker up. First of all, one of the things that I learned from this is a great way to pressure test not just your rifle and your gear, but your whole setup, whether the way you carry your sling, your mindset, what you're planning to do. A great way to pressure test things that you may not be able to do at your range, at a home range. For example, my home range, the only outdoor range I've got around me, I can't even kneel and fire. Like I got to shoot off a bench. So, and they're really particular about that. So, that's the only outdoor range I can go to 100 yards in. There's that. So it was a great experience to me to learn to run my gun in different environments like that, because I couldn't kneel. We were kneeling. We're supine, laying down. We're moving and shooting behind cover, covering each other and stuff. It was a great, different experience to get experience using the rifle in a lot of different situations, more dynamic situations. Another takeaway. Again, I'll kind of mention this. I'll say it again because I think it's so important. Good gear matters. This tactical response rifle from Midwest Industries is good gear, and it matters because I didn't spend all weekend frustrated with my rifle, thankfully. Also, electrolytes matter. Trust me on this. Don't just drink water. And these things here rock the house. You use a couple of these a day, you'll be safe. Probably 3 of these a day. For a 2-day class, 6 in a pack for $10. It's $5 a day. Drink 3 a day. You'll probably be covered good. Bottom line, do I recommend it? Absolutely yes. First of all, I think it's a rifle, an AR-15 style rifle is probably the most effective tool for most people to use. It's easy to shoot. The recoil is minimal. It's really easy to aim. You can be more accurate with it. With accuracy equals safety, and it's much more effective than a pistol. Again, a pistol is a tool of convenience, not effectiveness. If you need to take care of business and save some lives, from somebody that is intent on taking them, there's not much of a better weapon, all-around weapon, than an AR style, tactical style rifle. But I think you need to be proficient with it, and I'm telling you, there's no substitute for quality training like you get at Tactical Response. TacticalResponse.com. But I'll say this again: take fighting pistol first. I highly recommend that. Anyway, that's it. I really sincerely thank the folks at Tactical Response for doing such a good job and for caring so much about training people. It really is a life mission for them. It's not just a business. And thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.